So in the past 10 days, I've posted 76 times on my personal platforms, personal record for me, and I have 76 more posts scheduled on my voice closer between all my channels on there. So I'm going to talk about the system I have set up, what's breaking, there are some major things breaking, what's working, and the tools that I'm using. So I'm just going to screen share, go through each tool, talk about my AI agents, and then you'll have a great idea of how I'm running everything. So let's do it. So this is my Slack. And I'm just going to talk about the system I have set up with my different AI agents and how it all works and why I did this and what's been breaking. So this may look a little overwhelming at first, but you don't have to make it this complicated. So basically, I have this portion, my Slack channels here. I made all my social media stuff in this group called Postathon. It's like the name of an app I came up with a couple months ago. And basically, I have 7 or 8 agents, and each one it has its own set of instructions, and it does 1 or 2 things really well, and it has examples and like the passwords or API keys it needs, and it's all packaged up in one agent. And I kind of like think about them as employees, because when you're posting a lot of content like this, just to show you an example, this is what my calendar looks like. It starts getting really confusing, and this is why you need to do this, because if you have, for example, today, I don't even know how many posts this is. If you have 9 or 10 posts going on different platforms at 1 hour, and then you have a bunch of different stuff at other hours, and it's impossible to keep track of, so you kind of have to make some system where things are segmented. So I'm going to run through each agent, give you the 15 or 20 second rundown of each one. I have a main agent here that it can basically, it has all the instructions, and it can look into all the other agents, and it can help me fix when things go wrong. That's like the main purpose for this. I use it for intake, and I use it to fix things that go wrong, and it does a really good job at it. So you can see we change the agent's behavior, and we just fix glitches, because that happens. My intake agent, all this agent does, I can either drop one clip in, or I'll drop a whole folder, like what I just did here. One folder had 6 clips, one folder had 4 clips, so it kind of did the intake on 10 clips at once. And it just takes it and it saves them in my own little database that we made. It's free. It didn't take that much time. It saves it in a database with the important information. And the important info is how big is the video, like what ratio is it, what platforms is it going to go on. It'll title the video properly. It'll pull the transcript, which it can do for free, and it'll tell you what the video is about. That's what the intake agent does. The editor agent. This agent can do basic edits, and this was a huge roadblock I ran into, which I'll talk about in 2 seconds. But this does basic edits. It can cut off the first couple seconds or the last couple seconds of the video. It can also cut off things in between, but I don't have to do that anymore. It gets too confusing. So big roadblock I ran into is having this editor agent do too much, and I just ended up outsourcing most of what it was doing to a software called Opus Clip. It's just a web app. It does a very good job with subtitles and pulling out clips, right? So I was having this editor agent do all that. You can do all this stuff for free with your own compute power, but it takes a long time. It times out. It's super buggy. It might take 17 minutes for a 3-minute video to kind of pull all the frames and put the transcript together and figure out all the clips. It's way too much, and it doesn't work consistently. So when you're building this kind of stuff, you have to realize you can't get too deep in the weeds with some stuff that you shouldn't be doing. It's better to just pay for services that do it for you, which you'll see with one of my next agents too. So that's the learning point from the editor agent. My thumbnail agent, I love this agent because it comes with it makes all these funky, corny thumbnails that I use. So long story short, the thumbnail agent, by the time the video gets this process, again, it has the transcript. It knows what the video is about. It knows what every clip is about. It has pictures of me in a separate folder that I can pull from and make these expressions with. So it actually suggests titles to me for the thumbnails. I'll tell it yes or no or edit it, and then boom, it sends the prompt to Google Nano Banana. I think it's called Gemini Flash 3, and 20 seconds later, it'll generate a thumbnail, right? It saves a crazy amount of time for me. This stuff takes me a lot of time to do manually. So that's the gist of the thumbnail agent. Copy agent, same thing. It has the transcript. It knows what everything is about. It has a very detailed description of how I like to write, examples, my punctuation, like the kind of points that I like to touch on in videos, and it'll generate a bunch of captions. And remember, each caption is different per platform. So, you can see here, it just did this morning, for these 10 clips, it did 40 captions in 2 minutes, right? That would have taken me a long time. And there's very little editing I have to do. I found that my time is much better spent literally just recording new videos. The captions, they are kind of important, but they're not super important. People don't care. They just watch the video. So as long as it's good and gets your point across quick, it's good enough to, I follow the 85% rule. As long as it's 85% as good as it needs to be, keep moving. So this saves a crazy amount of time. I have a little notes agent in the midst here, which I can just tell it notes that it can pass to the captions agent or the thumbnail agent or the scheduling agent. I actually don't use this one that much, but it's here. Last but not least, this saves by far the most amount of time, my scheduling agent. Like I mentioned earlier, I actually use this database thing called Supabase. There's a free tier. You can do this all for free. It's essentially like a souped up Excel sheet, right? So I keep my own little schedule in Supabase about when stuff is posted and what the video is. And it also has like the Google Drive ID, so I can just like click it and go to the actual file if I want to. And I find that works much better than these posting platforms. These posting platforms are awesome, but you can't like query it. You can't ask it like, hey, how many times did I post in the past week? Or hey, what posts do I have coming up about this? Like, it's extremely confusing to kind of try and like add all this stuff up together and figure out what's going where and why and which clips for which video. Like, you can't just have a natural conversation with it. It's not meant to do that. So that's what my scheduling agent is for. I can ask it questions like what I just talked to you about at the first 30 seconds of this video. How many posts did I make? Which platforms did I make it on? What brand was it made for, right? Here's the next week at a glance. Really cool to be able to have all this stuff that you can just talk to in Slack, even if you're, somewhere not in front of your computer, on your cell phone. So that's my setup. The last agent here, the cleanup agent, I don't use that much. It just kind of does like a weekly sweep, and stuff that's in the wrong folder, it puts it in the right folder. So that's that's how I have this all set up. There's more tools that I use. Some not really worth mentioning. My last one I'll say here is called ShareX. It's a free tool. You can screen record with it and take screenshots. I use it all the time. It's amazing. It's open source, completely free. So that is my system. I'll turn my screen off. That's my basic system. There's more to know about this stuff, but basically you can set up something like this for yourself with not too much time investment. It definitely takes setup. It's not perfect. It has glitches, but if you're looking for like a free or low cost alternative to paying, some of these social media scheduling softwares are like $200 a month. Some of the editing softwares are really expensive. Like, you have to figure out what makes sense for you, but this is what makes sense for me. It's only been a week or two I've really been using it very seriously, and I've made 152 posts, so it works pretty well. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to triple my output pretty conservatively over the next few weeks. So it's going to go from 75 posts a week to 150 posts a week to maybe 250 posts a week. That's the goal where I'm looking to be at, because that gets me to $1,000 or 1,000 posts per month, which drives the amount of attention. So I'll make another video talking about traffic and stuff and like what I've seen, the numbers and all that, but that's my system. So if you're still watching, thank you for watching, and it's crazy that you stuck in there.